Okay guys, so here we are recording. As you can see, the format for this video is going to be a little different. Instead of playing 4 tables, I'm going to play 2 tables. The main reason for this being, I think it's going to be a lot easier to explain specific hands in much more detail. We're going to be able to get a lot better reads on our opponents, and overall, I think it's just going to turn out to be a better video because we're not going to be so rushed going over each specific hand and whatnot. Also, as you can see, I've got Poker Ace HUD and Poker Tracker working this time, so I'm going to have stats up, and we'll hopefully get into explaining what all these stats mean if people are still unclear, and how we're going to evaluate playing each hand based on the stats that those players have. So again, we're going to have, just for ease of explanation, this is going to be Table 1, the table on the left, and Table 2 will be the table on the right. Before I started playing, I had Table 1 open for a bit to get Poker Tracker and Poker Ace HUD data mining some stats, so this time we could at least play a full session with players with stats and hopefully go over what they mean. So before we get started, one thing I did not discuss but I think is very important to do when you start your session is to just look at the general stack sizes around you. Again, one thing that I wanted to mention about opening hand ranges, but I did not do, was that we're always going to be tailing our opening hand ranges based on the player's stack stacked behind us. So, for example, while I may recommend a strategy where we're opening most suited aces or maybe suited king or connecting type hands on the button, if the player in the big blind is a short stack who's likely just to shove in with any pair of high cards or any sort of ace 7, ace 8 kind of hand, we're definitely going to want to transform our range to exclude opening hands that are going to be likely dominated or that do not play well at showdown against a short stack. Similarly, when we're playing against big stacks, we may be able to call raises or call re-raises that we may not otherwise have been able to call. So I'll just get to the action. Table 1, I've got pocket 2s on the button, have an under the gun open from a player who's playing 12, 9 over 244 hands. That's a pretty good sample size. Remember, just to remind you, the stats 12 and 9 refer to a player's voluntarily put money in pot in their pre-flop raise. This player is playing 12% of his hands and raising 9, so this is an extremely tight player. His range under the gun, I think, is going to include most pairs and most high cards. And again, this is one of those types of flops I think is really just going to nail most of his opening range. All his ace kings, his ace queens, his mid to high pocket pairs. And again, I was mostly just playing 2s for its implied odds to flop a set. So I've got no problem giving it up there.